Let's learn about trapping pieces. Start by moving your pawn to the square b4. My bishop must retreat to the square b6 to avoid being captured. But it can still be trapped. Advance your pawn to the square c5 and seal my bishop's fate. My bishop is trapped by your pawn chain on the squares a3, b4 and c5. Well, I might as well get a pawn for my bishop. And now you can capture my bishop with your pawn. Your pawn chain advanced and trapped my bishop, leaving it with nowhere to go. Let's look at another example of a trapped piece next. When a helpless piece is trapped, sometimes the king can be the attacker. Move your king to the square c3. Notice how my knight is unable to move without being captured by your bishop. Even though the board is wide open, this poor knight is trapped. Move your king to the square b4 to encircle my defenseless knight. Alas, I cannot save my knight. Capture my knight with your king. The king can be an essential attacking resource when a piece is trapped. Let's look at another example of a trapped piece next. Believe it or not, my queen is about to be trapped in this position. You can attack her by playing your rook from the square f1 to the square b1. My queen has no safe squares to escape to, so the best I can do is exchange with your rook. Capture my queen with your rook. I won your rook, but I paid dearly for it. Okay, let's get some practice. Ready? In this practice problem, it is your turn to move. Notice any ideas here that might trap one of my pieces? My poor bishop. It's attacked by a pawn and has nowhere to run. Well, I may as well take your pawn. I suppose you'll take my knight, but with which piece, your rook or the pawn? You're attacking my bishop again, but this time I have a safe square for it. Okay, it seems like my bishop has plenty of space now, doesn't it? Trapped again. Unbelievable. Okay, let's see if you can solve this next one. At first glance, it looks like none of my pieces are in danger. Look closer. You can win material if you find the right idea. Fantastic find. My queen is trapped, attacked, and has nothing better than to trade herself in for a bishop. Now you have multiple ways to deal the final blow. You're getting good at this, Marco. Let's do another one. Capturing a trapped piece starts with noticing when a piece is trapped. Do you see any of my pieces here that are vulnerable to attack? You have lots of good moves here, but there is a better one than that which attacks a trapped piece of mine. Keep looking. Capturing a trapped piece starts with noticing when a piece is trapped. Do you see any of my pieces here that are vulnerable to attack? Well done. You spotted my trapped rook from the other side of the board. There isn't much I can do about that, so I am going to develop. Take your prize. You earned it. I may have lost a rook, but at least I can take your bishop. Before we move on to the next example, what would you play here? There are several ways to respond to my threat of queen takes rook, but that isn't the best one. Keep looking. Before we move on to the next example, what would you play here? Castling is the right idea, but castling queenside steps into my attack. How could you respond to my threat differently? Before we move on to the next example, what would you play here? If you look at the longest diagonal on the chessboard, you'll notice that my queen is threatening something. Before we move on to the next example, what would you play here? Nice job spotting that your rook was under attack by my queen. Let's look at another example next. In this position, I have a plan to play with my pawns on the queen side. What's your plan? I thought my rook was trapped for a moment until I spotted the square d5. Good thing I had that escape square for my rook. Your move. I thought you might try that. Let me see if I can liberate my rook here. Your turn. Any ideas? Exchanging pawns with check is not a bad idea, but do you see how to capture a trapped piece instead? Your turn. Any ideas? Nice work trapping my rook in this puzzle. Let's see if you can find the idea in this next challenge. The board is wide open. You couldn't possibly trap one of my pieces here, could you? How clever. Well, there isn't much I can do about that. Do your worst. Nicely done. You spotted my helpless queen and attacked her with your bishop. Let's look at a trickier example next. It's my turn to move, and I'm going to capture your bishop. Your bishop is mine. Any ideas? Yes, so this is not good for me. My rook is trapped and attacked by your king. I might as well get a pawn for it. How should you continue here? Well played. You used your king as an attacking resource to encircle my trapped rook. Let's look at another example next. The material is equal in this position. Let's see. Maybe after a few more moves I could interest you in a draw. Your turn. Oh dear, my bishop is trapped. So much for my hopes to make a draw. Your move. Any ideas? You have a keen eye for trapping pieces. Let's see if you can solve my next challenge for you. The board is wide open in this rook and pawn endgame. Your move. Well, this is embarrassing. My rook has been trapped and attacked by your clever play. I have a plan to free my rook. Let's see if you cooperate. Your move. That's an excellent response to my desperate attempt to escape. How should you continue? Bravo! You found a clever pawn move that trapped my rook and then used your king to attack it. Very well played. In this final challenge, you can attack one of my pieces that is not trapped yet, but is about to run out of squares. Do you see any targets? That move misses the chance to attack a nearly trapped piece. Keep looking. In this final challenge, you can attack one of my pieces that is not trapped yet, but is about to run out of squares. Do you see any targets? Your bishop and knight work together to attack almost every single square that my rook can move to, except for the square d8. Luckily, I had this one safe square left. Your move. Bravo! Your knight and bishop have encircled my rook, no matter where I move it now. You'll be able to capture it. Very impressive. You've demonstrated clearly that you understand this concept. Nice work on this lesson. Next time you're playing a game, keep an eye out for when a piece can be trapped.